But let me ask you a typical stupid question that maybe a lot of executives might have come up right away without daring to say it. For those people who are watching this podcast and say, okay, I'm listening, but what the heck is this Disciplined Agile? What would be a succinct way to tell them what is DA principally? What's the motivation behind it? What problems does it solve?
Yeah, so primarily DA is a knowledge base, and it contains agile and lean and value stream management practices that have been curated, and currently within the knowledge base there's over 2,000 of them. So it's a very rich knowledge base. And what makes it a bit unique is that it's not a prescriptive framework. It does not have a you have to do this, and there's not a guide that's going to be the sort of the standard that you do this and you're going to be doing that approach. What also makes it unique is that it covers the end-to-end flow. And that's a lot of the content we've been working on. So I've got an approach that's called end-to-end flow that we've brought a lot of that content now into Disciplined Agile. And it's about delivering value more effectively. You know, we're starting to see a lot of interest in enterprise agility, right? We see PMI has taken leadership in trying to create not trying, but they have created an enterprise agility manifesto. And it's more about bridging executive leadership and practitioners. Right. And what's important about DA is DA supports enterprise agility, and it's very strong in value stream management. And specifically, I mean, value stream management's been around for close to 100 years, right? And it's very common in the physical world, the manufacturing world. But companies from a digital product perspective have long since not had the same benefit of looking at things from an end-to-end flow perspective, and DA is very strong with that. So what executives and what leadership, and for all of you out there that want to bring something that potentially can have tremendous impact at your organization, is the end-to-end flow, and I'll show some visuals later as we get into this, but there is a strategic side. It's how we're making investment decisions, how we're packaging that work, how we're looking at not overflowing in, work in process and doing things that aren't as valuable, and the fire drills we're currently seeing. And then there's the tactical side of the flow, which is where we get team level agility, right? And the thing that is in both sides of that is we've introduced a continuum where from a team agile perspective, we've got predictive on one side and agile not all the way at the other end, because they got lean and you have flow. And there are approaches. There's the agile life cycle in DA, there's continuous delivery agile in DA, but everything in between that is a hybrid. And we have some ways now to show what common hybrids look like. So it recognizes that let's face it, most teams at most organizations, if they're doing Agile, they're really doing something that's more of a hybrid than like what we'd consider by the strict definition of Agile, to meet that.
I would even go further. I love what you're saying, but I'm gonna kind of call this back to you to see if I'm understanding you in the correct terms. Because some people who might be listening might say, what does he mean with end to end? I feel you when you say that, and I'll tell you what I'm hearing. I think the big issue that you kind of addressed with the concept, I think every organization kind of has in its mission statement recently, agility is important, okay? In a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, if we're going to use another bingo word there, VUCA, right? The only way to get where you need to be going is to be agile in your approach to achieving them. But I would say most executives, when they say the word agile, it's more an emotion and less a systematic understanding of a process. And I'm going to go one step further. I don't think most executives really understand what the heck a project is at its core. They see it as a special initiative, but they don't separate project management from what their core business is, which is production and making money. And especially when projects say, going to deliver value, projects don't deliver value until they're done. And when you're talking about end to end, and I love this perspective because it's if we look at I'll hold it up to the camera. If we look at this book right here, one of the key things that I pointed out with Mark and Scott, which I loved, was this concept is And a lot of my clients say this, okay? SAP is famous for saying this. They'll say things like, the beginning of the next project is the end of the last one. It's a continuous flow, right? So you talked about lean. Lean is not that's not a temporary thing. It's an ongoing thing. You talked about value stream, which is not a one-time thing. It's a continuous thing. And I think, and this is what executives are kind of telling us in those of us who are project fanatics, we have this beginning-end mind frame. Yes, we endorse agility, but agility has to be more than just a temporary thing, and it has to have a holistic perspective on the organization. And yeah, you guys can do your projects and, you can live in your own clan, tribe, or whatever you might have and do whatever tools you do. But at the end of the day, it has to fit into the big picture.